Hello, welcome to another Q&A for the 2025 San Francisco Independent Film Festival. We are very fortunate to have the filmmakers and actress from Baby Fever. Hello, ladies.
Hi,
Hi
Jason.
there.
All right, thanks for
Yeah.
being here. Thanks so much for dialing in and making this Zoom call, as well as thanks for making your movie.
Thank
Thanks for
you
Thank
for
having
you.
having
us.
us.
Thanks for having us and having the film.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know it's no small feat. So congratulations not only on getting into our film festival, but on finishing your feature film, Pascal. Let's start with you. What was the inspiration? How'd you get involved? How'd this project come to be?
It came to be quite a while ago. I mean, we had our first production meeting in like early 2020. And I had this idea for a while. I had written a short story in 2018, which was like my first ever published uh, work. And but since then, I still had this idea that there could be more to it. And um, originally, the inspiration for it was honestly, I was working as a virtual assistant, which I still do, but I was doing social media for um, a parenting geared company. So a lot of the posts that they were asking me to make were like relatable memes for moms and stuff. And I was this like 20-year-old who had never been a mother, and I was supposed to be making these posts as if I know what I was talking about. So it was just that feeling of dissonance and like feeling out of place that it sounds like a really just like small thing, but it was enough to get my mind rolling about like, oh my God, what if I was um, even more sensitive about this topic, having to make these posts? What might that look like?
So,
Yeah.
back up a little bit. Is this your first feature-length film?
Yes.
Wow, well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
Have you made any short films before?
Yeah, I had, but like, I think mostly are
Kind of like
like
social media
completely,
stuff.
yeah, mostly in school. Like, I went to Queens and I did the film and media program there. And since then, I was acting for a long time and I was trying to do that. And then Baby Fever was when I kind of decided to focus more on the production side and try directing. And but it's good that I was acting. I got to know the industry a little bit. I met Nipur through that, and yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I could talk to you guys for hours about this film, but since you just mentioned Nipur, please introduce yourself. What's your role, and how did your collaboration come to be?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am Nupur Chitalia, and I'm the co-director, co-producer of Baby Fever. And I met Pascal in our previous short film, which is The Law of Attraction. She was acting in that film, and I was producing. And then we got together and discussed if we could collaborate on Baby Fever. And then we shot a proof of concept, and then uh, then there was COVID, and we did what everyone did. We were in a long pre-production, and it really helped us create a great environment for the characters and inhabit
Hmm.
their world and start thinking about the stories and how they might behave in these peculiar circumstances, which we don't normally encounter, but we kind of do. It really makes you think that you do. And so all the gaslighting in the film, and not to give any spoilers, but
Well,
it
chances are
kind
the people already watched the film, so I don't think
of
you're spoiling
okay.
it.
That's good. So,
Yeah.
the driving emotions of the film, it kind of makes you very introspective, and you start questioning your own biases and the shape of the society. And yeah, it's I was mentioning to Pascal that, oh, it's funny that they have categorized this as a comedy genre. We were thinking psychological thriller. So I would like to get your opinion on
I,
how
I,
was
I think psychological
your
thriller, but I'm not the one that makes the final programming and catalogs and stuff like that. So you can't ask me.
Mhm.
But did you guys film during COVID? Or you just
No,
waited?
we actually were masks, so it was like that in the in between of a lockdown
It
where we were
was
allowed to be outside.
Yeah.
So it was still COVID, but it was
The
not that total
September
lockdown.
2021.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
right.
asked
Yeah.
because did that kind of add to the ambiance and the mise en scene and the the feeling and the it kind of you captured this kind of eerie, haunting, psychological thriller, as you said. That's the way I perceived it. Did COVID and the shooting dates kind of help to create that mood?
I think maybe Sarah might be better to answer that. Maybe it definitely made her feel that way to act the way
No,
she, the beautiful way she did.
absolutely. It was very isolating. The character itself is going through a difficult time, and doesn't have access to a lot of support. But it definitely added another layer. Me and other actors, we couldn't meet, in person to rehearse. There was a lot of rehearsing, on video call. Me recording self-tapes of different scenes and sending it to Pascal and Napor, asking for feedback. Definitely, yeah. It
Well, since we're on with you, Sarah, wonderful job, good, brilliant
Thank you.
acting. Yeah, very. Could really feel your kind of emotion and confusion and struggle. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, uh, uh, really
That's
well
the goal.
done. Yeah, right there with you. Never took me out of the movie. So how'd you get there? Like you said, you had Pascal's direction and you had rehearsals. Talk more about your acting process on this film.
So Baby Fever was my very first feature film,
Huh?
and I got the lead role. First lead role, first
Wow.
feature film,
Don't
nerve-wracking, but
don't don't
also
let this happen. Don't let it go.
no, 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 no. No, but so it was nerve-wracking, but it was very exciting. I didn't have a structure as how I'm gonna approach this character, this role. So I just, was kind of like throwing it at the wall and seeing if it sticks. A lot of, experimenting, just talking to my acting coach, talking to people, reading actual like real women's experiences with miscarriages, abuse, gaslighting on Reddit, on YouTube. So trying to really like drive inspiration from anywhere, I could get my hands on. So
You
yeah.
could please let me ask, because do any of you ladies have kids or have had these situations? A lot of actors will draw from real life experience. As you said, you did research. So Pascal, Nirpa, like how did you direct her if you didn't have this real life experience? Sarah, how did you, come to these processes if you don't have real life experience?
So I was dating someone who had ectopic pregnancy. So a lot of the thought process came from that. And I actually went through a lot of her medical reports and such. And,
Wow.
yeah, there was ton of paperwork. And that kind of also gave me an insight on the healthcare system of how condescending the healthcare system is
Hmm.
towards just people, like always trying to like uh, disable people from asking questions and, just,
Yeah.
especially at a time like this when everything is just very confusing and you don't want to accept the reality. It's a very challenging landscape to navigate. And so a lot of
And
inspiration
then
came
then the main
from
character
that.
Layla didn't have her support group. Her family's gone. Her husband's not helpful, obviously. So it's very difficult for the main character. And then this so-called mothers association,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah,
very
we were
difficult.
talking to a lot of mothers groups and joining like miscarriage seminars and workshops, but everything was online. So COVID in a way was a blessing for a lot of reasons because we had more access to,
Mm,
things related to the subject matter.
yeah. Pascal,
Yeah.
how did you give direction based on your script and your story and your life and
Yeah, I obviously like I had done a lot of research about the subject matter, but you you can't, you know until it happens to you. But I wouldn't say that I don't have the experience from the film. I think that the center and the hook of it is the miscarriage, but it's a means through which to, for me at least, express you know, greater things, uh abuse mostly. I viewed the film as a film about abuse,
Hmm.
and so that's how I approached it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that in a moment if I can remember, but before we go there, how did Sarah, how did you become involved with this project? Did you apply for an audition? Did you guys know each other from class? How did
Yeah.
this partnership come to be?
Yeah, I auditioned a couple of times and I read the short story that Pascal had published. And yeah, I was invited for the second round of auditions and got
So
to meet.
where did you find about the movie, the casting call? Like it was in,
I think I saw it on Mandy,
okay,
the website, yeah.
got it. And then you read her short story, or you had already read the short story?
I think I read like I passed the first round of auditions and then did some more digging and read the short story and I had some questions. I emailed Pascal like what does it mean? Because I didn't know that there's a like a feature length, you know, there's a feature screenplay that she had written. So and it was nice, you know, to get in touch with the director slash screenwriter and
Right.
have her input. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to domestic violence abuse. Very disturbing for me to watch that. I'm sure for audiences as well. So how was that to capture for all three of you? You know, to film those scenes. Challenging, uh, difficult to capture. You know, tell me about that process.
I think for me, one thing that I have to mention, and I appreciate it a lot. There was a lot of trust between me and my co-stars and the lead actor, Mark Petit, and also the director. So we had open communication. We tried different things. We tried to really break it down, break the movements, rehearse it, and really like master the flow. You know, at least of like physically.
Hmm.
But yeah, a lot of talking and yeah, it comes from a lot of trust, and so that's why we managed to get
Yeah.
to that point that it looks very disturbing,
And
but it wasn't
obviously,
for
I'm
me.
sure there's benefits that it was, you know, a female directing team too, right? Writing team, directing team. Yeah.
For sure. It was my second time working with female directors. Their approach is so different, and they're just a lot more accommodating. It's understanding. So I definitely appreciate that. It was a safe space for all of us.
Good. Good to hear. Napur, Pascal, you want to talk about filming these scenes or these topics?
I think it's difficult to film these topics, right? Like you live these emotions, and I would get up at night like feeling naked and cameras on me, even though I was behind the camera.
Uh,
So there were moments of this beautiful amalgamation of everyone's talents just coming together, and you just kind of feel electric in that moment, so that you live for those, and that carries you through those difficult moments. And so because it's an intense subject matter, and
yeah.
we were trying to address a lot of different things, just how it's easy for society to shun the predicament of women when they're going through miscarriage or just domestic violence, and the abuse, and how difficult it is to talk about that. You feel like you're in two different planes of existence, and it's you start to really ask yourself, how do you depict this right,
Mhm.
and you find moments from your life when you have felt that way, and that helps convey different directions that
Sure.
might help the actors to
What was,
be in
what
that
was,
space.
yeah, what was the set like after maybe you took a take, you know, you filmed a shot like in those difficult, like, did you guys need to decompress or like take a moment, or Sarah, could you get right back and let's do it again?
I
Yeah,
think
I can.
Sarah was a superstar.
No, I'm like, I love it. You know, I love that intensity. I
Yeah.
definitely don't want to like, take a moment to I don't know, relax or like detach myself from the scene or what I'm going through. But I was very much aware that I have to do justice to these women's experiences. Otherwise, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna
Mm,
watch the film and they're like, no, that's not my experience. That's not how I,
right.
reacted or how I felt. So I like there was some pressure, in that regard that I didn't want to do a disservice because you can't tell this story and do it
Right.
badly. You're gonna be resented for it if you
Yeah.
do it badly. So yeah, I was conscious of that.
Nice. Pascal, you want to add anything to
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, I was worried going into it that it would be, really hard on people on set, and I did obviously want to allow breaks when they were needed, and there were some breaks taken. But having said that, I think it was also kind of beneficial to us that we had such a cramped space to film. That like we shot it in 7 days.
Wow.
And in one
So
house, everything's shot
Well,
in
yeah, I
one
was going to talk
yeah,
house.
about locations in a moment. We'll talk about production in a
yeah.
second.
I think it kind of helped that we could also just we didn't have that much time to like sit and think about what we
Mm,
just saw. We just had to keep going. And so that maybe helped us emotionally get through the whole thing, because I know, I can't speak for anyone else, but I know that after the week was done, because I was in such go 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 mode the whole time after the week was done, I was like I felt so weird. I felt like I had just come from a different planet, and I was like so tired, and I had to decompress emotionally, physically.
yeah. Yeah, making a movie is hard, period, let alone on a heavier
Yeah,
subject matter or a psychological
yeah,
thriller, man. That's got to be exhausting. So 7 days, yeah. One of the things I wrote in my notes, like, which is a great way to approach an independent movie, limited locations, smaller spaces. So talk about the production process a little bit. It looks like you kind of planned it out, shot listed it out, so that you stayed on schedule.
Yeah, I think we had a nice team to work with. The production designers team, they were able to source very frugally a lot of things we needed to create the different environments, and we actually shot in Pascal's father's house,
Ah,
and the proof of concept was in Pascal's mother's house. So big thanks to the to our parents for,
thanks,
for
mom
all
and
the
dad.
support.
yeah,
Yeah,
really.
I mean, I don't think they would ever lend us their houses again after the
No, he didn't
nightmare.
know. He didn't know what he was signing up for, what he was agreeing to, but it was very nice of him to do that. Especially, I mean, because there was an upper level that was like pretty much empty, we were able to like fake the house as two houses,
Oh,
but it was empty. And so we were like, can you make this look nice with like almost no budget, please? And I think overall we were really lucky with everyone that we had on board to make this happen. It could have easily not happened had things went wrong, and but I'm like so grateful for to like the actors and everyone
now,
who like yeah.
yeah. Now, talking about the movie a little bit, I was somewhat confused, but this is a good thing. I felt like the character Sarah confused a little bit. What was to believe that you're getting gaslighted as an audience member. I was being gaslighted. I felt like so. I appreciate that. It was a little bit like, what the heck is going on? Um, but I did appreciate the reference to Rosemary's Baby. Was that in your short story, or was that a
Um,
movie thing? Was that the
was it?
filming?
I don't think it was
Oh,
a
I
only
short
because
think.
story.
Oh, there is a reference to it actually.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
The
it
there
book.
gave
is.
me a little bit of help, like knowing that this was what genre it kind of was. Then I was like, okay, yeah, now I get where we are. So it helped me as an audience member, and I appreciate that kind of, homage to Rosemary's Baby, if you will. But talk about that kind of mood and confusion. You captured it so well, Sarah. Especially, I mean, I am right there with you, going, "What the, I'm being abused at what's going on." Who, talk about that a little bit. It's so well done.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, definitely that was a big factor that I took into consideration when I was developing the character, because the character doesn't have access to a lot of support. And you know how the, what is it called, Stockholm syndrome? And you know,
Uh-huh.
you go back to the person that you know, because that's the only person that you know and you have access to, and you try so hard to make amends and you
Yeah.
know, and continue holding on to that belief that they're there for you,
Yeah.
despite all the evidences. And also the scary part, I think something that made the story very scary was that these mothers group is not exactly supporting when they should be. They're only supporting when they want to. So that inconsistency and lack of predictability also is very, you
Yeah.
know,
It added to the uneasiness and confusion that was, working in favor of the film. Yeah, you guys
Yeah, and
did.
even in
and also
real life, sorry to cut you off, Sarah.
no, no.
Do you want to finish?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I was also figuring it out as we were shooting. So that's also another layer, you know. I'm there with you guys. I don't know what's happening. So yeah, yeah, for sure. Nupur, go back to what you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just saying, even in real life, it's one thing when someone's going through a big moment of crisis, you try to be there for them. You're like bringing in cake, or, you're like, join us for our party, but that's not really helping them out at that moment. You
Mm,
think you're helping them out, but it's so superficial. So I think, the film really makes you think, how do you want to how do you want to support people you love, your friends and family? How do you want to amend your strategy, the way you want to be there for them?
Mhm,
yeah. What's
mhm.
the right
Yeah.
thing to do? I wanted to add one thing. Body is a common theme in the film. It's a very important thing. And here we're talking about this woman who goes through a miscarriage and an ectopic pregnancy. As a woman, a lot of times we feel like we're being betrayed by our own body. We can't
Mhm.
tell what's happening. The body is falling apart. So that's also another scary element to this story, that, you know, we can't
Yeah,
always tell what's happening with our body.
yeah,
Am I going to keep this baby? Am I not?
right. Yeah, good observation, good point. Yeah. Multiple confusion on all levels, even with our own bodies, and your character's body. Pascal, do you want to talk about this at all? Just
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about it for hours, but I yeah, people have told me when watching, like, when I would send someone like a rough cut for feedback, uh, they would say I'm confused, and that might be a deterrent. Maybe it should have been, but for me, that was encouraging because I wanted a film that confuses you in a time where, you know, uh, mainstream productions they write for people who are on their phones half the time. I wanted something that like rewards paying attention and wondering and trying to understand what's going on. Because yeah, I for me like the changing of people's behavior and um the confusing plot line, this is all kind of dreamy
mhm,
aesthetically, and I'm kind of like going at, it's like abusers changing their behavior. It's like it's dream logic. It makes no sense. It's
right.
absurd. I was trying to capture that, I think, ultimately, and
I
um,
think you did. I mean, look, we got time for one or two more. How do you guys feel? Pascal, we're still on you. How do you feel with the final result, with the final movie?
um, I'm I'm very proud of it. There was a time when I was like sick of it and I couldn't stand watching it anymore, but I'm back to I'm back to when I watch it now, I'm like, "Oh, this is good. I do
Yeah.
like it." And obviously there's things we could have improved, done better if we'd had more budget, more time, blah blah, but like
Look,
it
that
is even
never
better than I
changes as a
thought.
filmmaker. Just so you know, you'll always have those feelings,
Yeah,
whether it's number one or number 10.
exactly. And I think for what it for what we had, it went really beyond my expectations. And when I watch it, you know, I see new layers to it,
Yeah.
which is great.
How about the other two? What do you guys feel? How do you feel about the final movie?
Yeah, we've watched it so many times, and so when I watched the very first cut, I was like, "This is what we did in the last 4 years." I was like, "Oh my God!" And then, in post-production, like you actually tell story 3 times. This is something we discussed on set so many times. Like, when you're writing it, when you're filming it, when you're editing it. So, in post-production, seeing the process and just how far it went from first cut all the way to what we have now, and what it took. There were almost these standstill breaks that nothing was moving. We just couldn't
Yeah.
process our minds, bring like anything to it. We, for 5 years, just the film living in your mental landscape, something so heavy. You kind of want to detach yourself for some
Yeah.
time, but then I feel proud as well, and that we were able to bring it where it is, and
Right on.
with such limited resources. I think
Yeah.
it's a great achievement.
Yes, it is. Sarah, how about you? What do you
So,
think about the final result?
yeah, no, so incredibly proud of it, proud of all the cast and crew and directors, the key members, and it was just so amazing. And you said dreamlike, you used the word dreamlike. It looked like a memory to me. And yeah, no, I loved it. I'm definitely very much aware of its shortcomings, and for myself as an actor as well, I took note of that for the future work. But I think it's an excellent piece of work that we can always look back and be
Well,
proud
we
of.
do too here at SF Indie Fest. We like it a lot, and we're proud to show it in our festival. So
We're
that,
so grateful.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
when we heard that you're taking it in, it was a big day. It's actually the first, it's world premiere, as you know. So
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you so much
yeah,
for
you're very welcome.
selecting our
It's
film and
all
showing it to your audiences. I know you've been running the
Yeah.
festival for 25 years, which is a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm really sad I can't be there.
Yeah.
It's such a great feeling to be with the audiences and watching it.
Yeah.
I don't think you watched the film, you just watched the audiences, but but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna miss it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to all of you. Like I said, not only on getting into our film festival, but just making a feature film, and a good one at that. We really enjoyed it here at SF Indie Fest. So that's all the time we have. Thanks everybody for watching. Check out more great films at sfindiefest.com, and thank you for supporting independent filmmaking. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you. Thanks, Trev.
you.
You.